Well, the New South Wales government has become the latest state to commence consultation about an Indigenous treaty, opening applications for 3 commissioners to engage with Aboriginal communities. Now, that's despite the state and 60% of Australians voting no to an Indigenous voice to Parliament. Yet again, these Labor governments don't seem to want to listen. Joining me now is Warren Mundine, Indigenous Forum Director at the Centre for Independent Studies. Warren, always good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. What's your reaction to New South Wales' plans here? Should the state be commencing this treaty process?
Arrogance and virtue signalling. We had this referendum last year. It was about, the voice to Parliament. It had the full list of the Uluru statement, which is about treaty and many other things that were in there, and it was totally rejected by the Australian public. It was rejected in South Australia, where the other treaty committee is. It was rejected in Victoria, and you sort of start wondering, and as you said, it was rejected in New South Wales. So you're starting to wonder, do these people believe in democracy, number one? And even the Aboriginal votes in all those states was massively low. And so even the Aboriginal communities don't want it. So what they want is actual action and outcomes. And the Australian people said that quite clearly in that referendum. They said, we don't want any more of this nonsense, the same old that people have been talking about for the last 50 years. What we want to do is start seeing kids in school getting an education, getting onto university or getting a trade or some skilled job, their parents having jobs, looking at how do we get economic prosperity and housing in communities and stuff like that, and making them part of the wider Australian community. Now that's what they want, and yet none of that's been spoken about. All that's been spoken about is, okay, we're going to have a treaty, where we're going to have a committee. What's the old saying? If a camel is a horse that was built by a committee.
Well, that's a perfect analogy. And so this is the thing, and you raise a good point, because you've got Labor governments all over the country. They're still pursuing this attempts to bring about a treaty. And then you look at South Australia with the voice election this month. It had a 10% turnout, yet they're claiming that was a success, 10%.
Well, that just shows that just over 90% of South Australian Aboriginal said no. In Victoria, it was something around 7%. So the Victorians said no. I'd like to know what the recent figures were on the New South Wales Aboriginal Land Council. That would never have come any close to 50% of Aboriginals in New South Wales.
No, exactly.
So why are they continuing with this nonsense and waste of money? Look, they said they're going to spend $5 million in this project. Hey, Chris, I will do it for half that, and I will get an outcome within 5 years. And you'll become a hero in this country.
Yes, save the money, Chris, seriously, and speak to someone like yourself who actually understands.